Through. Hey everybody,
Hey
my name is
everybody,
JB Stark.
Sean Wilson here. We are live from Enterprise Connect. We are working on this, I guess you'd say real time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we sat down here at the booth trying to do our little Skype meeting broadcast. This Skype meeting broadcast is brought to you by 5G wireless and the backup headsets that we had sitting in our bags. We just had a very very busy time at the booth here, and I think that's what we want to talk about is, well, why is the booth so darn busy, Sean? What's
Oh,
going on?
I got to tell you, this whole process is actually quite interesting. So this morning we had our keynote, and I think there was a couple of moments referenced of things like, "Wow, Mike dropped the mic." I don't know what were some of the other ones. Oh, maybe even a Steve Jobs reference from Irwin that was called out. So, I think the reason it's so busy is we've just had so many announcements in the last 5 hours, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's just been really, really exciting here. So again, we're broadcasting live from the show floor at Enterprise Connect 2016. This is the Microsoft booth. Here at the Microsoft booth, we've had a ton of activities going on. So we've been signing up folks for E5 trials. We've been putting PSTN calling licenses on those trials. So folks are walking away with full-blown Office 365 setups, along with all the goodness that is Skype for Business Online, able to go and assign numbers and do all those great things. We've had booth presentations ongoing throughout the show here. My colleague behind me, James Skay, is going through and he's talking about the platform right now. I'm going to be up in about 30 minutes or so talking about voice. We're right at the end of the show, but the energy and the excitement here just hasn't abated, has it?
Yeah, the energy. I got to tell you, I can't even imagine, uh, you know, what it was like yesterday because today the energy, the people are just so excited. So, I mean, most of the people that are watching this probably also watched the keynote, but you know, the translation thing. Wow, right? Like the amount of energy that came just from that was incredible, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we need to start from the beginning.
Yeah.
So today at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, Zig Serafin, our corporate vice president of engineering for Skype for Business, had a keynote at Enterprise Connect. He went up and he talked for, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, and then just jumped into a whole litany of demonstrations. This keynote was literally chock full of different innovations. We had 3 different demoers up on stage, and we started off the day with Ben Canning, who looks after all the cloud PBX and cloud voice capabilities of Skype for Business. And he started off showing first just how easy it is to go and set up phone numbers and set up stuff in cloud PBX with Office 365. While we had announced our strategy last year here at Enterprise Connect, is kind of the last thing that we had to talk about. We didn't. We of course released in December, and so this was an opportunity to update everybody at the show about the goodness that was coming out that came out in December. So we did that, and then of course he snuck in a couple new things. The availability of PSTN calling in the UK in preview starting next quarter would be
Yeah,
the one
that's
that
huge.
start off with.
Well, and for those that weren't watching or possibly didn't haven't been following Twitter, I believe there's one of your favorite analysts has a promise to deliver on.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a little bit of an inside joke between us and Steve Blood from Gartner that he made a comment, something around the nature of, "Hey, when you guys bring out PSTN calling to the UK, I'm going to eat my hat." So we of course found the appropriate
Right there,
Britannia hat. Actually,
Ben. We need a hat.
Ben, come on over here. So actually, this is the hat that
This
we were literally just talking about. This is Ben Canning. Ben was up at the Ben was up at the keynote. We were just talking through your demo here. We're on a live Skype meeting broadcast right now,
you want to hop on?
and this was actually the hat that Ben had up on stage to show the availability of PSTN calling in the UK.
Okay.
How you doing, Ben?
Yeah.
I'm doing fabulous.
Here.
Well, now folks will actually be able to hear Ben a little bit better.
Sort of.
Hey.
I'm doing great. Who's on the other end?
Well, we're broadcasting live. This is a Skype meeting broadcast, so we're broadcasting live around the world, of course. Yeah. No, this is just one of those fun things, right? We like to sit down and do this and just kind of talk to the IT pros in the audience and the folks that weren't able to come out to Enterprise Connect. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the keynote was super fun. We're going to the UK. We're not stopping there. It's gonna be big.
Thanks for coming by, man. Good to see you. So one of the great things though is that Ben didn't stop there with the new innovation. We've been talking about this for a long time on our broadcast, the new capabilities that are coming into Cloud PBX, and one of the ones that I know a lot of folks are waiting for is organizational auto attendant. And actually, Ben was able to show the setup of organizational auto attendant live in his tenant in the demonstration.
Yeah, one of the things that was interesting was I was actually talking to somebody else that was walking out, because one of the things in the keynote was we showed the new call quality management from the build that we're going to build in, right? And the analytics and the dashboard from the Event Zero technology acquisition. And it was hilarious. He walks out, he said this guy walks out, dials on his phone, and he's like, "You got to see this single pane of glass integrated in AD. No way." So, the excitement and the energy exists across all the planes. It wasn't just about Cloud PBX today, right? Talk about Cloud PBX. We also conference room, meeting room devices.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so that's there's a whole. So we had a set of announcements around kind of the new PSTN services. The other one that we didn't talk about was on March the 1st. We released effectively doubling the number of countries that we have the PSTN conferencing service available in, which is absolutely excellent. So yeah, when it comes to the meeting rooms, two big announcements that we had on the meeting rooms front. The first one we call Project Rigel, and so what Project Rigel is, if you imagine taking a Surface laptop and loading onto it the Skype software that you would use, traditionally used in the Surface Hub, and then marrying that with hardware from our partners Polycom and Logitech.
Yeah, and the piece with that was so, I guess from my perspective, that's so inherently important is I didn't know 97% of meeting rooms don't have anything other than a PSTN conference phone and a display, and this Skypeifies every single meeting room within arm's reach, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so this thing is just designed to be really, really easy to plug in and to use. It's a center of the room console. It gives a great Skype experience. It gives a lot of meeting controls. You still have the same, one touch, touch to join to get right into your meeting. After your meeting is going, you get some great controls around, managing content and doing different views. We had it shown where it was set up just with a standard, 65-inch TV up on stage, and just a really kind of neat experience. But I think then, the part that I think folks were really surprised by was in that meeting. In the cloud, we also had a Cisco VTC in there.
Yeah, totally. Now the other announcement, which rings so true to my heart. So anybody out there that is an old VTC guy, I am a VTC guy. I was brought into Microsoft to fix our VTC strategy, a telepresence strategy. Long experience with Tamberg and Polycom and Lifesize and trying to get all those different worlds to talk to each other, and then let's throw Link, then now Skype for Business into the mix. Was when Polycom announced that they're bringing Real Connect into our Azure cloud. That's going to be an Office 365 service. I mean, are you kidding me? You just removed the complexity that I had to live with from a day-to-day basis of gatekeepers and firewalls and trusted applications and what meeting room am I in, what VMR, and oh my god, we just totally simplified the entire world.
Yeah, definitely. And so I mean, it's just it's fantastic not only to be able to partner with the great folks at Polycom, be able to take advantage of all the experience that they have in setting up in setting up these interoperabilities with a wide variety of VTCs. But to be able to have that available in Azure, easily connected to the Office 365 cloud, I think is really going to be transformational for customers. And so those two have just had a tremendous amount of interest from folks. Now, in terms of availability, what Zig was announcing was availability of Project Rigel and the cloud video interoperability from Polycom. Those are be available second half of this calendar year, and then for just a kind of review for the UK preview starting next quarter, and organizational auto tenant with cloud PBX next quarter as well. So we have investments coming up here.
The organizational.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was really good. Like, I signed it like that. Like, oh my gosh. And what caught the audience here so much is that they're all telephony-based guys, right? It's changing a little bit. You're getting some networks, maybe guys in here, but really, I mean, the core of this used to be VoiceCon, like we were talking the other day. They just provisioned telephony in 5 minutes on stage with an organization non-attendant, and then the phone rang not even 2 minutes later.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's literally what we're doing here at the booth as well. I'm looking over at our colleagues here who are talking with customers at the booth. The booth is still jumping. And literally what we're doing is signing folks up for E5 trials and then adding PSTN calling into those and doing the exact same thing. So folks are walking away, with their Android, iPhone, Windows Phone, running the Skype for Business client with the user on it, being able to make phone calls using the brand new tenant. It's just crazy.
It is, and one of the things that was actually a key theme, right? It was funny that you went with the start button, right? The stop button for a car, and I thought, for me, it kind of rang true because it's just like make this an online meeting, right? It's a button that you create the join click experience.
Absolutely.
When we internally went to click to join, in 2010, we actually saw our meetings hockey stick. Well, the fact that we have now built that same mentality that is existent across all of our different platforms, and we're enabling it to be done in just a minute or two, is phenomenal.
Definitely, yeah, no question. It's just super exciting to see. Then let's see. Okay, so then you mentioned the new administration capabilities within Office 365. These came from the Event Zero acquisition of UC Commander. I don't know if folks realize, but when you go, we'll give you the URL here in a second. So after this broadcast, if you haven't seen the keynote, you can go and watch the keynote. That was also done live on the Skype meeting broadcast. But I don't know if folks knew, like, that the dashboard and everything, that was running real live data from Microsoft. That was actually
looking
the real deal.
at meeting data and actually picking up, and I thought it was kind of interesting that it wasn't just showing the live data, it was showing it as it was fluctuating, and that just blows my mind, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That was so neat. So let's see. So we got through the PSTN. As you can see, the demo was intense. And actually, sitting right next to us here off camera was the person who was responsible for coordinating all the elements of the demo. And Praveen, he's looking a little tired after all the work that he and the team have gone through over the last couple days.
I'm gonna back that shout out with props, because he really did. He came new to the team this year. He stepped up and really, I mean, that keynote technology worked flawlessly, and the execution. So huge props for Praveen.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I've personally been engaged in a few of these keynotes here at Enterprise Connect, and no matter what, like, even if it's your executive coming up on stage, doing some slides, doing a simple demo, talking with some customers, even the most kind of basic keynotes that we do here are still just the floor is very, very high. It's already monstrously complicated, and so to coordinate all those different demos, and I think when I was watching the run through, actually, by the time that that Zig had gone through and done. I'm sorry, by the time that Ben had gone through and done the PSTN stuff, and then Kavita, she was on stage, kind of showing the end user side of things. And for that demo, she was showing, meetings. She was showing iPhone. She showed, excuse me, a Polycom device. Showed that. Ilya then showed the meetings experiences. Ben comes back on and he shows the admin's capabilities. After going through those four, I think everyone in the audience, was like, okay, like we're good. But Zig kept going, and at that point in the narrative, Zig started to talk about not yet, not the one more thing yet. At that point in the narrative, Zig started to talk about what it means to have a communications cloud. And I know that Sean, like you've been super engaged in the work here of what's finding the right framing, I think, for what it means to have a communications cloud and helping customers understand that.
Yeah. So the thing about that is really you have traditional voice, you now have the cloud. You put those two together though, and you change the rubric, right? You got end users wanting their accessibility to the apps they use every day, and then you've got IT with the same controls and concerns they want. But really, the thing is what's the key differentiator within this communications cloud, right? There's 3 hyperscale clouds.
Yep.
There's only one hyperscale communications cloud. And within that, you have to ensure that not only is it hyperscale, so it can scale on demand and capacity, but it also has to be trusted. And we have more certifications like FedRAMP and HIPAA and regional ones like EU model clauses, like things that nobody ever thinks about unless it's in your world. And we do all that for them in the cloud. But then you've got the power of the intelligence, right, from our cloud. Now, if you think about when we talk about intelligence, it's about media management, it's about intelligent routing, great, but it's also about machine learning. Think about, and we'll talk a little bit about that when we do the one more thing, but really, so the hyperscale, the trusted and the intelligent elements of the cloud is this new framework that I think is really core for anybody that's going to consider modern communications in the cloud, right?
Yeah, I've actually had the opportunity here at the show, because I wasn't squirreled away working on the keynote for the balance of the show. I actually had the opportunity to talk with a bunch of customers, a bunch of analysts, and kind of articulate this message and talk through what it means to us. And I just think it's a super powerful way to think through it. Like there's no one else who's thinking about it at the scale that we are. And it's global, but it's also languages. It's also the ability to marry the capabilities in the cloud with requirements for on premises. No one's thinking about it in the same way from a security perspective, an identity perspective, an auth perspective. And I think nobody's thinking about it the same way with respect to intelligence. And when you consider cloud, I think a lot of times folks get kind of wrapped up in this. Oh, I'm just not running servers anymore in my data center, and instead I got the same services and I'm running them up in someone's environment. But I think the true differentiator of cloud that we're really starting to see now is it enables completely new experiences like this, like Skype meeting broadcast. And so that's the one more thing. At this point in the keynote now Zig has the opportunity to say, oh, there's something else that I'm here to show you. Oh yeah, we just so happen to be broadcasting this keynote using Skype meeting broadcast. Everyone that's probably listening to this is familiar with that. And then he had a little surprise.
I believe this is what was referred to as dropping the mic, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Or I mean, this moment was when the understanding that the intelligent cloud is just more than a marketing phrase. It really is the sheer scale and compute power that we have built through the learnings of running Xbox and Bing and Outlook and all the Azure services and O365 and the Skype network. Like, you think about that, that is a serious brain trust of big data insights, as well as a great platform for machine learning to just turn up its engine, right? So,
Yeah, absolutely. And so what is
here it
so
is.
okay, yeah. So what does Zig show? So Zig then shows not only can we do Skype meeting broadcast, but we can marry Skype meeting broadcast with a automatic speech recognition capability that provides on the fly transcription of that Skype meeting broadcast.
Yeah, so not only is it transcribing it, it is now also translating that transcription.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's yeah.
it's, why I'm speechless, which has never happened ever.
Yeah, so I mean it's so he goes through it, and you're seeing the transcription, and it's the transcription of the keynote that was just happening. So this wasn't there's no faking this, like, and this is really, I think, very much kind of high wire demo art, right, in the sense that that it really depended upon literally the words that were coming out of the demoers' mouths, what they're saying, how they're saying it, how often they said ums and ahs, and like all of that was then available in kind of pure text form right there for the audience to see. And then of course, okay, you can see that in English, you can see that in German, you can see that in Mandarin, you can see that in Spanish, and I think at that point, yeah, I, at least in the audience, I sat back and I just thought,
You just heard the ah, right? We always talk about the aha moment. It wasn't an aha moment. It was like, oh, wow.
oh wow, yeah,
Right?
absolutely. And so yeah, that's incredibly exciting, and so all of that packed together was the keynote that we got to experience today from Zig and team, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. Huge props to everybody
Yeah,
that helped to deliver that. So, sorry. If you haven't seen it, you can go out to. We're going to have it up on this link for a long time. And eventually, of course, we'll get it up on YouTube as well. aka.ms/EC Live. So
All one
enterprise.
word.
All one word. That's right. EC Live. And so go out after we're done here. Feel free to go out there, check it out. It's it really is cool.
It is 30
Yeah.
minutes that you definitely will not feel that you've wasted a single minute of. I can tell you, I knew all the stuff that was going into it. Like, I'm read in, right? And I still was there with like chills, right? Like,
Yeah, definitely.
and it's interesting because I would say that if we take a look, I don't know who's actually watched Monday, but if you looked at Enterprise Connect on a year ago or 4 years ago when it was VoiceCon, 5 years ago when it was VoiceCon, and you look at this, you would never expect that it changed from that traditional voice to really it's about how people are accelerating communication. And I mean, you look around, there are people here, like vendors here, that I was like, they wouldn't have been here 4 years ago, right? So I mean, the fact that communication and collaboration is just accelerating, the cloud is just enabling that at such scale.
Yeah, most definitely. So, as you can kind of hear from us, like this is just, it's been really, really special to be a part of the show, and we've just been having a great time doing this, and so yeah, that's just been excellent. So, anyway. I think it's probably time for us to sign off. I know I've got a booth presentation coming up here.
You got a booth presentation, and this is my last thing that I am responsible for.
Oh boy.
Today,
well,
other than going to dinner, right, with us.
Yeah, well, yeah. This is there is a little bit of a tradition that on Wednesday night, yeah, a lot of the execs need to fly home, but we end up staying out a little bit, having a team dinner. Of course, we got to pack up the booth and do a little bit of that work. But yeah, so I've got a booth presentation still. So I'm still going to do that. But then yeah, we get to enjoy ourselves. And like always, we'll be back in 2 weeks for another edition of the Skype for Business video broadcast series. We have a whole bunch of kind of potential topics on the board.
We'll get it out over Twitter and whatever. I've got to talk to you about it because I've got an idea.
Sean has ideas. That's always dangerous.
I think we might it might have something to do with HIT and the white paper.
Oh yes, that's right, exactly.
So
by HIT, Sean means hyperscale, intelligent, and trusted. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. So again, thanks everybody. Thanks for coming out for the Skype for Business video broadcast here live from the Enterprise Connect show floor. And we'll be talking to you soon. Thanks again.
Thanks.